would it be happening, and what can be done to prevent it?
Well, what caused it was the white man, and what we can do to prevent it is send the white man back to Europe. That's your heavy-duty answer right there. But since that's not possible, since it's not possible to send the white man back to Europe, I think if there was a possible way, it would have been addressed already. So instead of Europe, I think we're going to send them to the moon. No. It's going to be up to the individual tribe, and I'll speak specifically for here. It's going to take our leaders, the councilmen, the different programs, tribal programs, to recognize that being called Salish or a Kootenai or a Ponderay is important. And the traditions and the culture that follow and are part of the tribal names is important. When you can approach a tribal administrator, a program director, and say, I have to take cultural leave. And they say, yes, I understand what that cultural leave is. Then there's that possibility of not endangering culture to where eventually it will become Boy Scoutish. It won't be like Christmas and what Christmas and Christianity has in connection. I use Christianity as an example. European religion, and the people has taken it over the courses of the year and said that, well, this individual, Christ's birthday is on the 25th of December. Now, the people that follow that way and believe in Christ's teachings have neglected the values of that teaching. And now you look at Christmas all around. People get depressed because Christmas is around. They can't afford presents for their kids. And is that where the value is supposed to lie? If I don't have a job come Christmas time and I can't buy my kids Christmas presents, am I going to get depressed and take it out on my wife or my family? Whereas before, it's supposed to be a celebration in this individual, Jesus Christ's birthday. And we're supposed to be celebrating and rejoicing because of him, not because of a Christmas present from Kmart or Shopko. So, as a tribe, and if we're to follow our cultural way, our leaders are going to have to leave a mighty big impression on us as people. When events, as ceremonies are happening, all the council should take notice on that. When events and sacred ceremonies are happening, all the programs, the tribal programs, should take notice of that. But it's not happening that way, because we have swayed so far into the American society and their system. We look at each other, and when what individual says, well, I want to take cultural leave, or I have to go to a ceremony, we say, what? We don't even know. As an Indian person, we don't even know, associate ceremony with voodoo practice. And our leaders, the impact, the Christian impact that had on them, they need to be all re-educated again into Indian ceremonial ways, because they don't understand, and here they're leading us. We'd rather learn just to go to church on Sunday and forget about everything else. So if there's no measure made in recognizing the importance of ceremonial culture, it won't be too long, and that's what we'll be doing. The same thing as what Christianity has done to Christmas. We'll be doing the same thing. We'll buy ceremony. We'll buy tradition. Boy Scouts will even surpass us in culture. So there has to be, I believe there has to be an effort in our leadership to make an understanding. And to make an understanding, to come to it from a non-biased view, a non-prejudicial view. We've gone this far. We've deluded ourselves this far. And if we're to make a stand at Indian people, I have to accept that delusion, the bicultural way, and say, let's look at this part of our history and our life, and let's take a stance right now, right here. Given how far assimilated you are, how far interracial your family is, let's take a stance together. Let's take a stance together as Indian people. Sure, we're going to have to deal with the businesses, we're going to still have to go on with our life, but let's take a stance as Indian people and know that ceremonies are important. Tradition is important. So that it doesn't dilute itself away. If you take example, a treaty was in 1855. It is now 1989, 160 some years later. How many people, 30 years old, Kootenai and Salish, can stand in a bunch together and converse in their language? How many Kootenai and Salish 20-year-olds can stand together and say, this is the way my ancestors conduct a certain ceremony? How many Salish and Kootenai kids can you take and give them a drum and tell them to sing? There's not too many. And not enough. Not enough. We have to wake up. We have to wake up and see that let it come to life again. Let it live again. There might be jets flying over. There might be TV over there. There might be radio over there. But we're strong enough. We got this far. We're strong enough to carry it on and to let it live again. We can be optimistic. We can put back on our moccasins and walk. We can put on our moccasins and walk to Kmart. And that's how bicultural we are. And that's where I believe our hope's going to lie, is in our leadership. We have 10 councilmen. How many of them have a foundation of culture? How many of them have a foundation of spirituality and Indian belief? Out of 10 people that we vote in there to lead us. I believe all the leaders, all the council should have a foundation of culture. They should have a foundation of cultural, spiritual belief. And that's my own personal belief. Because it was that made where they're at now. If it wasn't for them old chiefs, saying my grandchildren will be over here someday, will be up here, well, they wouldn't be there. They wouldn't be there. That's all.
Thank you.
One more joke.
Got one?
No. I told those my best ones that I told. That first one. Okay. Is there ways that the dam that can be utilized? The funds of the dam can be utilized to revitalize the culture. And I think simply for that is going to depend on where our leadership is at that time. Who's going to be leading? Who's going to be on the council leading? That's going to help in distributing $9 million. How is it going to be channeled to the people? And how is it going to be fair in a confederated tribe of 2 tribes? How is it going to be fair? I think it is going to be the concern, the issue of how that money is going to go to revitalize culture. Proper management from the leadership. It can be channeled through the culture committees. From there, you got to have proper administration and how you're going to develop and implement the revitalization of your culture. It can be channeled through those two areas, plus also the college, through education, through your Native American Studies programs, through cultural relevant programs. And so that's going to be one avenue. But you're going to have all the other programs screaming unfair, unjust. And that's pretty hard to try to keep it simple. To my view, is going to be how the leadership is going to distribute that. If we have a tacky leadership, then we're going to have tacky distribution of that money. And it'll only go to a few. That's sad, but it'll only go to a few. If we have a fair and just leadership, we can positively use that money to help revitalize culture, to be able to attract optimistic people that's wanting to teach the culture, to share the tradition. It took money to destroy it. It's probably going to take money to revive it again. And I think we're a smart enough tribe to do it. If we stay fair and just with the people. So a question like that would have to be addressed to the leadership. Put the question to a councilman. Put that question to the high-level tribal administration that will be dealing in that. Myself as a member and concerned about our culture, our traditions, is of course I'm going to say distributed through the culture committees to develop a plan, a good positive plan of action to teach, distributed through the education for Native American Studies students. Demand that the language be taught just the way we were taught English in our math, in our reading. Give the language and the traditions equal time also. Give them equal time. That's what it's going to take. It's going to take a turn. More Native American Studies teachers